All right, it's time for Yogi and the BeachMan. Hi, I'm Jim the Yogi.
And I'm Rick Beach the BeachMan.
We're two Michigan transplants now living in Southwest Florida.
In fact, we're cousins born in 1964, just a month apart.
I like to meditate.
And I like to play bass in a band.
I'm into chanting Om.
And I'm into throwing down some classic rock.
But together, we're on a mission
to promote people that are helping other people.
We want to make the world a better place.
One conversation at a time.
So sit back,
turn up the volume,
and get ready to laugh.
Because we like to have fun
while we spread the love.
Interviewing lovely people. Yes, we have fun.
Yeah, we usually don't edit out too much.
Okay.
Sometimes things will come up that we're like, oh, we shouldn't talk about that. We edit them out.
Like
but
some person, if one of us inadvertently mentions like something personal, we don't want out for public consumption.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
yeah,
Absolutely.
but pretty much everything goes.
I thought you were going to edit out the Canadian chick saying she wanted Trudeau to get whacked, but he did. He ended
That's
up,
not what she said.
he ended up snipping it. And, he snipped it and put it in the front.
Hey, no, that would be Jim.
Yeah. Well, she said that Rick mentioned that he was skiing up near her neck of the woods, and she's like, "Yeah, I wish he would fall and kill himself."
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We're like, okay, well,
I
that's
don't wanna
great for a
wanna do
podcast.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Got my haircut today, Jim.
oh, it looks good. Can I do this?
Yeah, cool.
Oh, that's cool.
It does. Looks cute.
Mary, Rick's my cousin. I don't know if you knew
Okay.
that. He
I
grew
did-
up. He grew up Rockwood area. Lived in Wyandotte quite a bit. So yeah, he's kind of a
Because
downriver boy.
you were at his yoga studio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I figured you
yeah.
guys had a connection from Michigan. Then
We
I
had
saw
a,
you.
a connection because I believe you started in 2002, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Just kind of an odd little thing that I, just moved downriver and stumbled onto the lady who was in your first yoga teacher training.
Yeah.
And she told me that the person who was doing Reiki at your studio had just disappeared.
Yeah.
So I came and talked to you.
I remember that. I remember
Yeah,
sitting down
but-
and talking to you. And
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was August of 2002. And I was on that schedule in September.
And I remember you giving me a sample, just letting me feel your hands, and I was just amazed at the amount of energy coming off your hands.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
potent. Yeah.
It really is crazy how powerful Reiki is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
but
crazy.
some people have more, I would say, power than others. Some people definitely emanate more energy out of their hands than others, and you're one of those people that have a lot of energy coming out of your hands.
Well, that's true with anything, right? Whether you're an
Mhm.
artist, a musician, an accountant, everybody has different strengths and weaknesses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
for
So
sure.
some people just take it and run with it. And that's what I tried to do. Take it and run with it. It was so interesting that when I first took my first Reiki class, I knew nothing
Yeah.
about Reiki. It was in the early 90s and there was no internet to tell me what to expect. And I, went home and thought, this is total BS. This is I really did. I really
Yeah.
did it. But they gave us this homework to do. And a
Mhm.
friend of mine came over and she got to my apartment. I didn't have a massage table. I had some blankets on the floor.
Yeah.
Drug her in and was, I said, oh, I got this new thing I want to try on you. And when we were done, she was like, well, I didn't have a chance to tell you this, but ever since I moved to Portland, I've been having trouble breathing. And she said, and as soon as you put your hands over my chest, I could breathe easier.
Wow.
And it was, in some ways, it was kind of better when I thought it was bullshit. Because there's no reason, right? There's no, but then when she had this positive, experience, I was like, oh, wow, maybe there is something to this. So then, wild horses couldn't have kept me from that second class.
Then
bet.
down the rabbit hole you went, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I did
Well,
go
good for
down that
you.
rabbit hole. I went down hard and fast. It was amazing. And the more
Okay, so-
you practice, the better you get.
So
Mm-hmm.
you're sitting in the airport and the guy next to you says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" And you say, "I'm a Reiki teacher," I would think.
Mhm.
And he said, "Reiki? What is that?" Because that's kind of
Oh,
where I'm at. That's kind of where I'm at here.
well, so by that time I'd rather have my hands on them. But so
I could
because
see that.
it's somewhat hard to explain to people, but if they feel it,
Mhm.
they're like, wow, this is it. But
Yeah.
it's the energy that flows within you, right?
Mhm.
And so if you think about the 7 major chakras and they're spinning and they flow, you want to keep that flow as steady as you can and as centered and smooth so they're all the same. If you think about if you go into a store and somebody's screaming at customer service, you know that their solar plexus chakra is open because they're standing up for themselves. But you know that their heart is closed because of how they're standing up for themselves.
Yeah.
So you want your body to be always balanced so that you're living this life with calm and ease instead of fear, because it is that fear that kind of shuts down your immune system so you don't heal. You heal best when you're calm. And
Mhm.
that, that's true for everybody.
Yeah,
So at the
absolutely.
very least, Reiki's going to put you in a place where your body can heal itself.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the energy of that healing, loving, protecting energy is within us, but it's all around us.
Mhm.
Right? Just like I can't see radio waves,
Mhm.
I don't know how Bluetooth works.
But it works.
Yeah, but it works. And
Mhm.
so it's that same energy. So when you want to do Reiki on somebody or somebody'd like you to,
Well, how do you do Reiki?
Well, hold on.
somebody?
Before we go there, could we do
Okay.
an introduction?
oh,
yeah,
sure. Sure.
Okay.
Knock this out.
All right. Welcome back to Yogi and the BeachMan. Today we are with Mary Ivey Suiter. Mary is a Reiki master, a yoga teacher, and a dear friend of mine that I've known since 2002. So welcome to the show, Mary.
Well, thank you, Jim. It's so nice to be here. It's so nice to see you. And you have made such an impact on my life that you probably will never understand, but you changed my life, Jim, and
Wow.
you brought me to this point. You helped me along on this journey, and I
Well,
appreciate it.
thank you.
Well,
Well,
that's awesome.
I'm glad
Yeah.
I was able to facilitate whatever growth you've had, Mary.
You're definitely a big part of my growth.
That makes me
Thank you.
feel good.
Yeah.
Me too. Me
Yeah,
too.
I will be eternally grateful.
Well, we're grateful that you're here on this podcast with us.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So you were about to ask a question, Rick, and
I don't know. I don't
oh,
know
okay.
that.
I think
Oh no, what was I saying?
it's kind of like a Reiki 101 question, right?
Oh, you said that once you do Reiki on somebody, and I said, how do you do Reiki?
So when you're doing Reiki within yourself, I like to create a sacred space in wherever I'm going to do that Reiki. So I'm going to bless the room. I'm going to, light the candles, have some nice music, a very inviting place. But I'm doing that a lot to get me in that place because, you can't give what you don't have, right? If I wanted $1 million and you don't have it, you could probably get it from someplace else. But if you have it, it's so easy to give. So you first need to get yourself in a place of a calm place. You can't have your little monkey brain going. And then what you're doing is when you're calming yourself and then somebody gets on that table, you want to bring in that healing, loving energy. And I think about it coming through my crown chakra. I bring it down to my heart. I split it apart and it comes out my hands. That's why my hands are so warm that you were talking about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
that they're so warm. Through the whole session, I am just bringing it in sending it out my hands, and what the other person feels, and Jim could probably attest to this a little bit better because I'm on the other side, but it brings a peace and a calm. It alleviates pain. It's amazing. So it's similar to a massage. We're usually do it on a massage table. Usually is about an hour practice. You could do longer, shorter, depending on the person. When I do Reiki, I'm a big toucher, and I'm going to touch always in a professional way, but I'm going to touch, but you can do this without touching too. And you're able to feel the other person's energy. So as soon as you go over them, you can kind of feel if it's balanced or imbalanced. And it's so easy to balance somebody out once you get them on the table. Give me an hour with you.
You're bringing back memories. I took, I don't remember if I know I took Reiki 1 and 2, and I don't remember if I took the Reiki Master class with you. Maybe I did, maybe I don't. My memory's not that great. But I remember you would always call in spirit guides, or taught us to call in spirit guides as well to the room.
Oh, yes. I use spirit guides every time I do Reiki. And when I'm going to have, even when I'm going to have a class. So if I had an appointment with you, Jim, and I was going to maybe come to your place, you know, before I get there, when I'm getting myself in that place, I call in my spirit guides. I also call in yours. And I also do that even when I'm having a class. Like when I would have a class at Rising Sun, I didn't know who all was going to be in the class. I didn't know them personally. I knew their names, right? Because they signed up, but the universe knew who was coming, right?
That makes sense. Yeah.
So I would call in the spirit guides for all the people that were coming to the class. But what I want to say is that it's not any religion in particular. You don't even have to be spiritual. This works whether you believe it or not. It just works. It's amazing. It's amazing. And what I realized that when I first started doing Reiki, I didn't do as much distance healing as I do now. But during the pandemic, even before that, I mean, I knew that distance Reiki worked, but during the pandemic, it was amazing. It was amazing. And we talked about earlier about, you know, like I thought this was, you know, total BS. Right. When I heard first about distance healing, I was like, okay, that's crazy. That's never gonna work. It is amazing. It is amazing because we're not individuals. And I know you guys are guys, but I'm gonna use a girl example here. When two girls hang or you work together, your periods sync. Yeah. I mean, that, like, everybody knows that could not happen if we were individuals. Right. It just couldn't. We are connected, whether we like it or not. We are one collective soul. We're on these little individual journeys here, but we are a collective soul, and we change people when we're near them, and we change them a lot when we have the intention for their highest good when you're doing Reiki. And even distance healing.
Talk to me, or us. Tell us more about the distance healing or the distant Reiki.
Well, no, hold on. Before we go there, let's back up a little bit.
Okay.
You said when you have people coming into your class, you don't know if they're spiritual, if they're Christians, Buddhists, Muslims, whatever. I've recently, and am right now in the process of really embracing Christianity. So when I hear this kind of, when you say, I'm making correlations, I'm thinking, okay, you're talking about you want to bring in spirit guides. That in my head equals angels. So, and I mean, is that a good correlation? And I don't really want to get super personal, but I'm wondering is Christianity a part of your life?
So this is how I tell people about Reiki, and you always roll your own experience into it, right? No matter what you're learning, you're rolling yourself into it. When I first took Reiki, I took it with a couple of Wiccan ladies who rolled it into the Wiccan religion. So when I first dipped my toe into Reiki, I thought, oh, this is a Wiccan thing, even though they kind of implied it might be Christian. When I went to take my master training, I did it with a lady who was Christian, and she wrapped it around Christianity. And what I realized from that, it doesn't matter what religion you are, or even if you're religious at all. I see my spirit guides as more than angels. I see them as guides. Like right here next to me, like I have always had an American Indian spirit guide there. You know, I don't know if you would call him an angel, but like I have felt him my whole life. So I think of spirit guides as helpers.
Okay, that's fair enough. But because I'm very, and I've been this way my whole life. I'm very, like yesterday we had the crystal lady on. I'm not really a big. I kind of correlate some things that we touch on in this podcast. Please, I'm not implying this to you or anything like that, but it's some things kind of border on maybe into the occult realm that I'm not really comfortable with. And so if you can take Reiki and to someone like me who wants to think like, because if you were a Christian, that you could get those healing powers basically from the divine source. Because I've just been really reading the Bible and some in the New Testament recently, and you follow me? You know where I'm going with this?
Well, I do, and I see how some people will think it's like anti-religious.
Well, I've just always been fearful of that scene. Like when I went and saw Ozzy Osbourne at Chrysler Arena in Ann Arbor when I was 18 or 19 years old, and walking in there with all my buddies, and we're drinking and having a great time. And the Bible thumpers were out front, and they had crosses, and they're telling me you're going to go to hell if you go see Ozzy Osbourne. I still went into the show. But when Ozzy came out and he smashed a cross on the stage, in like the first 30 seconds, I did not watch one more minute.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I put my head down. I didn't leave.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying I did gaze up sometimes, but I remember sitting that because I was scared I was going to go to hell for participating in this occult behavior.
Yeah.
So I don't like to watch like any occult movies, anything on that. It really terrifies me. So that's why I wanted to get into this, especially since you guys have a different type of relationship than a lot of our guests. And do any other people ever bring this up to you, or has that been a concern in the past?
It is a concern for some people. And I tell people when I'm teaching the class that there is no religion necessary. You don't have to be any faith. This has nothing to do with any faith at all. And if I say anything that is not what in line with your beliefs, I try never to bring any religious views into this. You know, you just supplement your view into it. I have
because I can see how it's such a positive experience, and I get it because I was telling, when I go to church now, and I say this quite often, that the music beforehand is really engaging and it's really, really good. It's really powerful. And the whole vibe in there is good, and I can feel it. And yet last week I kind of made a connection, feeling this coming in and recognizing it. I talked about this yesterday with Jim. But so I just kind of look at it like, if that energy is always there, it has to, I mean, it's in that space at that time. Where does that come from? And if you're channeling something similar, doesn't that come from God?
Yeah. Oh, whatever you want to call that God. Like I have a deep view that there is a creator, but everybody calls that creator something else. So for you, it might be God, might be Allah. I don't know what anybody's religious views are. And this, and then if you want to think about Christianity, I mean, Jesus laid hands on and healed. And Jesus says, whatever I do, you can do even better.
If you believe in him.
Yes.
If you have that faith.
If you have that faith. So yeah, I don't see that this is contradictory. I don't see Reiki as being occultish at all.
Okay.
I mean, we're not like, running around naked around the fire. I
What's wrong
mean,
with that?
nothing. I didn't say there was anything wrong with it. I'm just saying in Reiki, there's
Yeah.
no naked around the fire. What Reiki is a healing practice to make your body work better, make your soul a better connection with that higher power, whatever that higher power is for you.
Yeah.
So
And
I think it is very spiritual practice. If you think about the chakras, when we go over the chakras, so when we start at that root, that's our connection with the earth, right? And this life, which our creator intended us to connect with this earth. If you go up, your sacral is your connection with others. Now you're talking about your friends, your family, your lovers. You want to have a healthy connection with others. There's strength. The next one is your heart, your love, your core of your being. But the crown chakra is your connection with your higher power. And when you strengthen your connection with your higher power, you strengthen all of those chakras down to the connection to this life, to this earth. When you know that you are rooted in love, when you're worthy, when you have boundaries, you know your power, you love, you speak your truth, you know your inner knowing, that connection with your higher power comes so easily.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
And there are, I mean, having owned a yoga studio for a long time and worked in
mhm.
spiritual realms and different things, there are a lot of people that have talked to me and said, my minister won't let me do yoga because,
Yeah.
or meditate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or
Mm.
Reiki. All that's like, oh no. And these are Christian leaders that shun all of that work. And in my
Yeah.
mind, it's because, you know, people want to have power over you. And
Mm-hmm.
whether that's that minister wanting you to come back every Sunday. And when you start to develop your own connection with the divine, they start
Mm-hmm.
to lose that power over you because their beliefs and how they interpret the Bible or anything spiritual, you know, can't compete with your own direct communion with Jody. That's what I call God. Jody.
Jody, I like
Jody.
that.
Because it's God, because I don't like all the implications that gets brought in with when you say the word God.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're making that connection yourself, why do you need that preacher? Why do you need that minister? Why do you need
You don't.
you don't?
You
You
don't.
know what?
You can get the church I go to puts it like this. Hey, you can come here for an hour on Sunday, hour and a half, and listen to me preach.
Mm-hmm.
But that is nothing in of the hour and a half out of your 168-hour
Yeah.
week that you live. So you're not, he doesn't preach that you're going to, in his way and that kind of thing at the church I particularly go to. But but he puts it up to you to do your own study and your
Mm-hmm.
own
Yeah.
and then someone gave me a Bible they bought at a dollar store with the breakdown. It had like the chapter and then kind of a reference to the Old Testament and how it refers back. And it's really helpful kind of digging in because
Mm-hmm.
really I'm kind of I'm just in this transition. And
Yeah.
so it's good to have that explanation.
Yeah.
And,
But if you think about the things that, churches tell you not to do, yoga, meditation, Reiki, you think about how those things do nothing but heal your body. So if you think about if you're being carjacked, you are at 100% stress, right? And your body's amazing, all the chemicals that are released. I can run faster, I can think, I can use my arm as a paddle, wonderful. But it shuts off all your secondary systems, which is your immune system. One of them is the systems. And then when you come back, in theory, when you come back to calm, your immune system turns back on. But without being carjacked, when you're in a meditative state, you calm your body, which allows your body to heal. When you're doing yoga, all those things calm your body, allows your body to heal. And that's what you want. And I find it disturbing that any religion would suggest that you not do anything that would heal not only your body, but your soul and your mind.
Well, are you guys aware of any scripture that is contradictory to any of those things? Because
Well,
that would be the only reason that
first thing I would ask is, do you believe that the scripture is the divine word of God, or do you think?
I do.
Okay, well then we can't really. And if you heard of the Council of Nicene,
I have not.
okay, well that's where they sat down and decided what was going to go in and what wasn't.
Okay.
So it's not even like a pure testament to what the apostles had written,
Okay.
because some people that were in higher power said, no, 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 we can't put that in the book. We're going to cut that out, but we'll give you a little slack. We'll put this in here.
Okay.
So it's not even, in my mind, 100%, of the
S-
apostles'
but
words,
you-
let alone the word of God.
But would you say that of those, so they just rewrote it,
Yeah,
or they picked and choose what went in?
they
Which
did.
one of those?
Well, it's all been rewritten because it was all in Aramaic originally. So they had to
okay,
interpret,
obviously, there's translations, but are you saying that they
and there's
actually
different translations.
so that it got rewrote, or
Yes.
it just got picked and choose from at that
Both.
time?
Both. They picked and choose what was going to go in it at that time, because there was a big fight at that time and who was going to control the power. So they came together and said, okay, we have these writings. We're going to decide what's going to go in the final edition of the Bible.
Okay.
Look it up. It's
I'm
it's
not.
out there.
I'm not.
Yeah. No, I'm just
disputing
look it
that.
up for your own
I'm
own
going.
knowledge.
I certainly will. But regardless, if under the assumption that that is the word of God,
Mhm.
it still goes back to my question: is there anything in like the King James Bible that would be contradictory to any of those studies, whether it be meditation, yoga, or Reiki, or any
I
of these
don't believe
things?
that anybody has given me any saying, look, right here, this is what was written down, and Jesus said not to do this. I think
Mhm.
it's just kind of a broad ministers and priests don't want you to do this. I don't think, and
Yeah,
if,
I just don't.
yeah.
At least church had to. If it said it in the Bible, don't do yoga. Then
Mhm.
and Jesus said, don't do yoga. Then hey, don't do yoga.
Mhm.
Don't.
Well, that would be your choice.
Uh,
But I don't think it says that. I don't believe
doesn't.
that it says
I'm
that.
certain it doesn't. I'm certain it doesn't. I'm just because you're kind of painting Christianity with a broad brush, saying that not you, Mary, kind of Jim. I think that all Christian religions say don't do yoga, but that's not really what you're saying.
Oh, no, no, no. I'm not saying that at all. In fact, I went to a Christian church and was part of a Christian church. I was on the board. I was a youth minister for 3 years. Worked as a janitor in the same different Unity churches.
Right.
These are all different ones that I worked at, but it's a Christian one. But they're more of a metaphysical. They don't have that interpretation that you find in other places where the minister is telling you to do this or do that, even though if it's not in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And they're very open to yoga. They're very open to meditation. They meditate in their service.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Christian. So
No, I'm sure it would be.
Yeah.
Because the way the particular pastor that I really enjoy listening, it's basically if it's in the Bible and it says to do it or don't do it, that's the deal.
Mhm.
And I kind of I buy into the literal interpretation.
Okay.
Well, and I believe, Jim, was it like 400 years after Jesus died that they put that Bible together? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely over 100. It might have been 400 with the Council
Yeah.
of Nicene. I'm not
So
even sure if I'm saying that right. The Council of Nicene or Niacin, something like that.
I am
Yeah, it was
a
about
little
then.
familiar with that.
Mhm.
And so I just think, again, putting everything to yourself, I wouldn't have a clue what somebody was thinking 400 years ago, personally.
Because I mean, up
Mhm.
until this time, I never even knew that there was any. I mean, up until 5 minutes ago, I didn't know that there was any pushback from any churches regarding this stuff.
Yeah,
I would have never even thought that.
Yeah.
There definitely is some pushback.
Mhm.
Well, it's like Southern Baptists, hey, don't dance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Same-
even
same kind of deal,
Catholicism for
right?
a long time, you weren't allowed to everything towards God had to go through the priest. That's why you went to confession. That's everything was the priest
right. The priest is your channel to God.
is the channel to God. That's the only way to God is through the priest.
Right.
So if you're a good
Well,
altar
not
boy,
silly.
never mind.
Yeah,
if you're
I hear you,
good.
Jim. Yeah.
No, we're on the same page there. Well, Jim and I were both. Well, you know where Cabrini is.
Yeah.
My grandma would drag us to Cabrini all the time.
She drugged me out
And
by my ear.
Oh man, there was
That
some
doesn't
questions.
surprise me.
I wasn't allowed to ask questions.
No, you cannot ask questions during a Catholic, and I think half of it was in Latin too, so it was kind of traditional.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I remember several scenes in Cabrini.
I totally got drug out by my ear. She grabbed me
Yeah.
so hard. Oh well.
Yeah, don't tell anybody about it. My cousin and I got kicked out of church once as teenagers.
We won't tell.
No,
Yeah,
but I'm no fan of the Catholic Church and their little giving in their baskets they stick in front of you so you can throw $10 in the kitty.
Well,
I'm all for
and that-
tithing, but I like it
At your own discretion.
Yes.
Sure.
Mhm,
Well,
absolutely.
we went off on a tangent there, didn't we?
Well, we did.
And I appreciate you indulging me on this because I've had these questions with other guests and I really don't want to broach them because I don't want to be confrontational, but I've been thinking about it and I really had to so yeah, thanks for just walking through that.
Yeah, and sometimes it just takes people a moment, that when they ask you about this doesn't sound right, or they think it's occultish, like just kind of got to invite them in and allow them to experience all those things and then see how they like it, because once you start meditating, it's hard to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so nice. Yoga and Reiki is just amazing. You just feel so much better. I'm getting a treatment myself tomorrow. I can't wait.
Nice. Yeah, I had Jehovah Witnesses that would come to the yoga studio often, and but they would not meditate. And even if we put a little meditation in the class, they'd have no part of it. They'd keep their eyes open and just be like, nope, not meditating, because they were taught that in meditation you open up your mind so the devil can creep in. So that's why they were taught they weren't allowed to meditate.
That's kind of
they could do yoga, but they couldn't meditate.
Interesting.
Yeah, real interesting.
Yeah, because meditation brings such peace of mind.
Yeah.
And such calmness to your whole being. So it's
they've scientifically proven it shrinks the amygdala, which is your fear and anger response. So I mean,
really, that meditation is amazing. I love it. I learned from Jim to kind of incorporate in all my yoga classes.
Nice.
Yeah, I still do.
All right. So I'd asked before we went off on that tangent, which I'm glad we did. I think that was a great tangent, about the distant healing and how that works.
Okay, so I wish I could give you a really good answer. I have no idea.
Okay.
All I know is that it works. First, we seem to be connected by an invisible web.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And when I do a distance healing, I'm doing it similar to if you were here. We're still setting up an appointment. You're laying down in your own home or wherever you are. And the feedback you get is incredible. I've had distance done to me. And you're almost like, how did that even happen? But because of the connection we have, and you think about how powerful your thoughts and intentions are. So, I usually know the person or have a picture of them. I know what they're going through, and I'm going through a Reiki treatment at home. I use a little doll. I don't know if I even had them when I was in your studio. And I have a little boy and girl doll. And so when I'm doing a Reiki treatment and you come to my home, into my healing room, you're going to be on a table, right? And we're going to go over this. It's similar to massage, but your clothes are on. You're on your belly to start, and then you move to your back. it's about an hour long. And when you do a distance healing, I'm kind of doing that same healing in my heart. Like I have that dial, I'm sitting down, I'm creating that sacred space. I'm bringing to mind whoever I'm working on, whatever their issue is. And when I call you, when your hour's up, like I've never got a negative response. I used to sell distance healings on eBay
Mm.
and always got just incredible feedback. And
People would go on eBay and buy distance
yeah,
healing.
they'd buy my distance healings. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And
That's so
it
cool.
really is fascinating. And I think if I knew the reason, I'd be richer than Oprah. But I can't tell you how it works, but
Yeah.
I can tell you it works.
Mm-hmm.
It works. And I don't know if it's that that person's just in that meditative state, or the web that we're connected with, whether that energy goes through that web and finds who I'm thinking about and brings them a sense of peace, calm, and healing.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Well,
what I call amazing.
yeah, quantum physics is starting to show, that there's what we think of space and time aren't necessarily a true reality.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that has a lot to do with it. You can connect with people. Even when my first experience with yoga was through pranayam. Had no idea there was postures, didn't know anything about that. But I started doing pranayam based on a book by Jess Stern called The Power of Alpha Waves. And one of the things he talks about in that book is being able to get into the alpha mind wave state and being able to um, tap into other people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really no different. I mean, it
No.
doesn't matter the space, doesn't matter the time that
Mm-hmm.
that you could tap into their minds. And actually, it was uh, found to be so true that the military started to use it and started to work with it. I don't know if they still do, but there was a lot of work by the military to use this.
Well, I took a science class, a million years ago, it feels like. And one of the things that she talked about was our senses. First, she talked about our skin, how it's just an optical illusion, and
Mm-hmm.
how your body is outside of that. And if we're close in proximity, that our bodies will start to connect. But the other fascinating thing that she talked about was how our senses, as she put it, whoever created us, gave us these senses to limit what we can see, hear, feel, touch. So if you think about even just the light, we know it's huge, right? But we can only see a little bit of that.
Yeah.
We can, like animals can hear more than us, right? So maybe that web is there and we just can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could really just be so connected that it would frighten people, really, if you saw it. So there's
Yeah.
so much out there. She also mentioned that if you took all the energy that should be on the earth, like, you added up the people and the ants and the trees and the dogs, there's more energy on this earth than should be. So that tells me that there's a lot going on in this universe that we live in that we don't see or feel. So
Mhm.
how we're connected, I don't know exactly because I can't see it, but I know that we are all connected. And
Yeah.
Reiki proves that to me all the time, every day, every day. And you think about even the coincidence of you're thinking about somebody and they call, right? Everybody's had that.
Thinking of somewhat.
Like you're thinking about somebody and all of a
And
sudden
the
Oh,
they,
yeah.
phone rings.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or, they're thinking about somebody and you run into them at the store.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like so much in this universe that we have, we know this much about, especially like the quantum physics that's
Yeah.
just incredible.
Yeah. And how things change just by observing them. I mean,
Yes. Yes.
Well,
That
there
is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I can't remember which guest it was that would mention. Hey, she says, "Hey, do you guys know about Operation or Project Ice Cube in Antarctic?" And I didn't know anything about it. So, but I've since then learned about it. I watched like this 45-minute documentary on it. Apparently, they pick up neutrinos. So basically, there's only a couple of neutrinos just are flying all over all the time. They're just, and they just go through anything, but they're super hard to detect because they don't interact with matter.
Okay.
So long story short, they set up these detectors in the ice because it's perfectly clear and it's dark.
Okay.
And they had to put all these sensors in there. And basically what it did by proving the existence of neutrinos are on their way to proving of dimensions, along with what Jim had mentioned earlier, quantum physics and more so quantum computing, which can only be working if it's going through other dimensions. So there's definitely more out there. And in the last just recent past, these things are being able to, they're no longer quackery. It's beginning to become science.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, I've been more accepting of these type things like Reiki in the recent past. However, I do still think this distant thing is a stretch.
I thought I have to say that, not only did I think that Reiki was just total BS when I first did it, really, when they told me about the distance, I was like, okay, these people are crazy. I'm going to get in my car. I'm going home. This is crazy. But, so to be honest, like I didn't do distance right away. Because it was enough just to take in that I could actually go put my hands over somebody and change how they felt was like enough of a stretch for me. But then once somebody calls you, you're doing this for years, and then somebody from another state calls and says, I'm not really feeling good, or this is wrong. Can you send some healing? And so I'm like, try. I'll try. And then you start getting this positive feedback.
Yeah.
And then it's like snowballs. And you're like, I might not know how this works, but I know it works.
Mm-hmm. And you believe in prayer?
Yeah.
Right?
I do.
Okay.
You do. Okay.
What's the difference between praying for
prayer
somebody and having a positive effect?
Okay. I would buy that if the main basis of I don't want to make it sound that cut and dry, but if the main basis of this, like I said earlier, that if you would have that as a correlation to prayer, then that would easily go with her spirit guides being angels and the power of her gift to be able to have this energy coming from God. So so it all correlates. There's nothing conflicting there.
So, but it comes from the universe, which is the creator created the universe. So this healing, loving, protecting energy is all through the universe, right? So what makes it different if it comes from the universe, or I want it to come from God? Do you just want to do your deity or all deities?
Well, I don't believe in more than one.
Well, I think the number is like 9,000 on the earth of deities.
8,999 false gods.
So it's kind of easier just to say it comes from the universe, because through this web of love or connection, we can change somebody's just how they feel, how they communicate, everything, how their body heals itself. That's amazing.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Please don't think I'm trying to be confrontational with you.
No. Well, and this is what I tell people, because if you read a lot of Reiki books, they'll tell you if you're going to do distance healing on somebody, you have to like ask for permission, right? But I totally threw that away, because I grew up a Polish Catholic girl. Like, my mom told me, go pray for Aunt Rose. She's sick or she's having surgery. So I see this as no different than praying for somebody.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I have to ask permission. If I know somebody's sick or somebody's going through a hard time, I'm going to get my little healing space and send them some loving, healing energy,
Absolutely.
right? And that comes from the universe. And if you want to put a label on it, you can,
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll buy that. I'll buy
You'll,
that.
you'll buy that for $1.
No, seriously. I mean, it's
Yeah.
and like I already said, thanks for indulging me in that. So, and
No.
I'm not, and wasn't intending to bang head with you, and I'm glad that didn't go that way.
No, never. Never. We always have to respect everybody's
And where they're
point
at,
of
what their
view.
beliefs are. Yeah.
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 Yeah, absolutely. And kind of work around that.
Yeah. I think this
It's
has been
fine.
great. I've actually been learning a lot about you today, which is really fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Like what? Like what?
Just the where you're at with your, I don't know if you want to call it spirituality or religion, whatever works for you. Where you're at in
In my necessary transformation to my new spiritual self,
yeah,
I'm working on it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But there's a lot of different paths of spirituality, so I'm just learning a lot about yours. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you
Yeah,
have to
no,
respect
yeah.
everybody's path, right?
absolutely. Yeah,
Or everybody's in a different everybody has to find their own sense of peace wherever that comes from.
I think in the Bible it says there's many doors to the kingdom, right?
I
There's a lots of ways in.
you know what? Today
Ooh.
was the very first day because I got up like 7:30 and I literally sat there, picked it up, and started going through my thing instead of scrolling
Mm-hmm.
Twitter every morning for 45 minutes. And oh yeah, and today was the first day I actually pulled out the highlighter.
Okay.
Ah, interesting.
So
Yeah.
Interesting. So you have to think about when you come across something that you disagree with when you're
Ooh.
highlighting.
Then what?
Then
Well, I
what?
think
then I would
we
accept
already
me
did
being
it.
wrong.
Pardon me?
Then I would accept me being in error.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
we can edit this out if you want to, but didn't you already tell me that is he a minister or a preacher? What, I don't know what title.
Tom is a pastor.
He's a pastor. That your pastor said you're living in sin because you're not married?
Correct.
And do you feel like you're living in sin?
I do now.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
I
So
realize that hypocrisy.
Are you getting married?
No.
Okay.
you can edit this out too, but
And do you want this edited or can we roll it? Okay. All right. We're rolling. with it.
But
So
no, you are 1,000% correct
Okay.
because that is certainly a concern of mine.
so you
Well,
chose to live this life with this person, and then because some
This-
outside person said that's wrong, you're going to change how you're living?
No, because no, that's not what I said. I said that it says in the Bible that it's wrong, and I happen to believe that.
Okay.
But I'm kind of grandfathered in this case.
The grandfather clause. I love it.
Now I don't know if it really is going to work that way. Yeah, because I really believe. Hey, when the end time comes and Jesus comes back down and for the second coming, no, we're not going to have any notice. It's just going to happen. And if you're saved, you're going to get to go to heaven, and if you're not, you're not. And right now, I don't think I would.
Okay. Can I share with you something that I learned about sin and what works for me? Because sin was actually an archery term. It meant missing the mark.
Okay.
Okay. And to me, the mark, what Jesus taught, is about unconditional love. He teaches to love everybody. So when you're sinning, you're not in that space of unconditional love with your neighbor, with whoever. So to me, that's what's sinning.
Okay.
If you choose to live with somebody and have them as your partner, to me, there's no way that can be sin unless you're doing it for some other reasons and not unconditional love.
But notwithstanding your what was your
So if I was a minister up on the stage preaching that and using the Bible as my authority, would
Well,
you be okay with it?
if it said it in black and white in the Bible?
Well, Jesus
Yes,
said,
I
"Love
would.
thy neighbor."
Agreed.
Okay.
Love thy
Is
neighbor.
that just the next door neighbor, or is it everybody that you're in proximity with?
I think
It's
No, it's definitely everybody.
Okay.
It's
No,
everybody.
it's your it is your next door. It's
But
it's the
but if
lady
you
at-
live in the same four walls,
it-
it's a sin.
no, but to have sex would be
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
to fornicate.
because you think sex can be
Look,
sinful.
I am not a scholar on this. Okay, you guys are you're getting me.
That's
I'm
okay.
happy to continue this, and we will. But I'm not saying I'm a Bible scholar because I picked it up a month and a half ago. But now, what were you going to say, Mary?
I want to tell you what I think of religion. So I think of the truth of God, our creator, whatever you want to call it, as a tree. And that trunk of the tree is the truth. And all those branches that come out, those are organized religions. They all have a little bit of the truth in them, but none of them are the total truth. Does that make sense?
It does, and I
Mhm.
totally agree and won't argue with that at all. But if I can pick up my Bible at home and read, and it says this is what Jesus said,
Mhm.
then that's the way it is. That's what I believe. If Jesus said it, or said I should do it or shouldn't do it, then that's the way it is.
I guess I just feel like,
And that's different than being organized religion.
right.
I would not be. I'll never go into another Catholic church again. I went to Baptist church for a long time. I kind of liked that message because I liked that pastor, but it's not about being. At least for me, it's not about being organized, but being in a religion. I don't feel that I'm in a religion. I'm not Mennonite or Mormon or Catholic or Baptist or anything. I'm just trying to become more faithful.
Mhm.
And for me, I have to have something that's pretty black and white. And if I look at this in those terms, then I can accept that. And that's what I can deal with best for me.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Well, for me, I just think I need to be the best person that I can be.
Oh, those things correlate for certain.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, I'm going to be this person regardless if you threaten me with heaven or hell. I'm going to be the best person because that's who I want to be, not because anybody's going to threaten me or say, if you don't do this, or if you eat this food, or you sleep with this person. If I'm
Yeah.
being true to myself,
Don't eat meat on Friday.
yeah.
Does it say that in the Bible?
Well, that's what we were brought up. You had to have fish
Yeah.
on Friday, right?
Only
You
in
had to
the
go to your
Catholic
fish
church.
fry.
Only in the Catholic church.
Is that
Yeah.
only in the Catholic Church?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
There might be a couple others.
That's
who
why
knows,
there's
but
well,
yeah.
right. There might
Yeah.
be like there's other.
Yeah.
Well, what's the one real close? Lutheran.
I
So
think
Lutheran and Catholics
the
are
Presbyterians.
Lutherans are
they wear
close.
the robes, but they could always get married.
Well, you know why there's the
I
Lutheran
think.
Church, I believe? It's because the Catholic Church was selling spaces in heaven. And Martin Luther
Right.
thought that that was kind of horrific. I don't know if you would think that or not, but so he started his own religion without selling spaces in heaven.
So yeah, he picked the part of Catholicism. He dug like those cool robes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the scarf, and I think even the hats. They
took what he liked and
yeah, I'm not into the whole costume jewelry thing in the church. I'm just not. But I do dig a good band, and this church has one.
Oh, see.
So,
So if it didn't have a band, you probably wouldn't go.
no, I probably would because I really like the
Okay.
message and how that my guy preaches.
Okay.
But the band, and I, it just brings so much energy into the room. And you said earlier, last week was the first time that I really made a conscious connection between what I was feeling and what it actually was.
Okay.
That energy that you've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got it, and I was there by myself, so I kind of let loose. My girlfriend didn't go.
Okay.
Stay home, sitter. No. No, she wasn't feeling well. I didn't want to
Sleeping with a sinner.
No, it wasn't nothing like that. But we've had these talks with different energies. We talk about this quite often, and that's why I'm becoming a little more familiar with things. And once again, I was there by myself, and I did kind of let loose a little bit more, and I was really emotional. And then, but I could literally just feel it coming right in my tie, and then but I was
Yeah.
feeling it everywhere, and I had felt that before, but I just didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And not as intense as it was last Sunday, but I get that vibe every time I'm there.
Well,
It
good.
feels good.
If church brings you a sense of peace within yourself, then that's good.
But I also get that vibe if I'm just driving around and praying about a
Yeah.
problem or something.
Or driving around on a sunny day with your good music on, you still get that same feeling, right?
All right, I'm gonna put you in my prayers tonight, and you promise to send me some love, okay?
I will. I will send you.
Oh, that's a
great.
deal, and I think that'll be even trade.
Even trade.
It's
So,
like pesos for dollars.
whoa. So I'll tell you what, though, after we're done with this, we'll set up a distance healing for you. You can see what you.
Oh, I
All
love
right,
that.
all
idea.
right.
And
Yeah,
yeah, where are you guys in Florida? Where you at?
Port Charlotte.
Or we're
On
not
the
talking-
on the West Coast, on the Gulf of America.
Okay. Yeah. Next time I come down, I'm gonna look you guys up. We'll give you a real Reiki treatment.
We're about 40, 50 miles south of Sarasota.
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll send you distance healing, but we'll maybe get together next time I'm in Florida. Do
How
a
often
real
you
Reiki treatment on you.
How often you come down?
Well, I used to come down at least once a year. This year was definitely an exception.
Where do you go?
By Winter Haven,
Oh,
Oh
okay.
yeah, near
not too
Orlando.
far.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where the Cleveland Indians used to have their spring training.
Yeah, and my son's down there now with his wife.
About
Yeah.
90. It's about 90 minutes from here.
Okay, not too bad. I can
Oh,
do that.
Yeah. We used to go to a lake in Winter Haven. Do you remember that when we were in Navy Nuclear Power School? We were both stationed in Orlando, and there was this little tiny lake in Winter Haven that we would go to occasionally.
I don't remember that.
No, yeah.
What kind of school were you in?
Navy Nuclear Power Training School.
Really?
Yeah, we were both on submarines running nuclear power plants.
Yeah, that's us. We're smarter. We're smarter than we look.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to.
that
It's
is-
like another lifetime now. It's so long ago.
It really
Yeah,
is.
isn't that funny?
I
Yeah.
had no desire when we got. I know Jim didn't, but I'm like, I just can't do this. But Detroit Edison did fly me out when I was 28 to interview for the Enrico Fermi plant in Monroe.
Monroe.
Oh, really?
So I was stationed in New Hampshire at the time, so I drive down to Boston. I get on a plane. They put us up at the Pontchartrain Hotel at the Renson. Now, keep in mind, all my party buddies who I haven't seen and partied with in ever are now invited to the Renaissance Center for 2 days of chocolate cake, shrimp cocktail. Oh my God.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I went to it. I was not asked for a second interview.
Really?
I had no, but
Probably so hungover there.
that's exactly what it was. It was
Yeah.
kind of embarrassing.
That's exactly what I was thinking, but I
But
didn't
that's a
want to.
memory.
Yeah, we partied pretty hard when we were in the Navy.
Yeah.
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 And before that, yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, any final thoughts, Mary? As we're coming up towards the end of the hour.
So, final thoughts. I just think that living a life when you're full of love and contentment and happiness, when your body's in good and you're doing yoga and meditation, that you just live life with love. And I think that this is what we need in life, that we need to know that we're connected and that we're rooted in love, that there's love for each other, no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, wherever you decide to live, how you decide to live. If everybody in this life would go through life with love and compassion for themselves and others, that the world would be better. And I think that Reiki is just a stepping stone to get people there.
Yeah.
I just think you can live with love and compassion for everybody. And that's my take on Reiki. It is all love.
I love it.
core of our being.
And so if somebody wants to set up a distance healing with you,
Mm-hmm.
how should they reach out to you?
They should call me, text me when you have my number. So when I set up a distance healing, you know,
So do
I'm
you want
just,
your phone number to go on YouTube?
oh yeah, it's all
Okay.
over. So
All right.
it doesn't matter. Yeah, they can call me, text me, we'll set it up.
Okay.
I've set up, you know, we do it just like a regular appointment. We're gonna set up a day, a time.
Okay. Our outro started playing then.
Yeah.
Could you hear that? Could you hear that part?
I heard the what was going on. Yeah,
The music going on? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
I don't know why
I
that
did.
started up.
Because it was
On a timer?
no, it's here. Like I put it on the here so I don't have to move it every time.
I
But
got
we've
it.
reached that point over an hour and the
yeah,
headphone
I got
part
that.
was
Oh,
selected, so it started playing.
Okay, we just went too long. I'm sorry, guys.
No,
No,
it's not too
no,
long. It's not
no.
too long at all.
Okay. Okay,
That's
so you'll let
perfect.
me know when you're gonna have it on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And it'll go on all the major podcast apps and YouTube as well.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. It was so nice, you guys. Thank you.
I never
Likewise,
expected
thank
this
you.
conversation to go the way it did.
Me neither.
Well,
It's awesome.
that's the fun part, right?
It is. And
Yeah.
that's how we kind of like to go here too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never have a script. We just let it fly. So
Just talk.
Mary,
I love
thank
it.
you so much for
Love
coming
it.
on
All
the
right.
show.
In my rating
Thank
book,
you.
you're going to get a yes. Well, 5. This is
I got
what
a
we
yes
use.
from you. Yay. I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, thanks again, Mary. You take care.
You're welcome. It's so nice to see you, Jim.
Likewise.
Really nice
I
meeting
love
you,
you.
Mary.
Thank you for everything.
Love you too. Bye.
See ya.
I am so happy to be here. Let's all live with our hearts open, filled with love, compassion, and kindness for ourselves, each other, and everyone we meet.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Namaste.
Namaste. So if you just listen to this podcast and you appreciate the content and the work that we're doing, we would love your support. Look in the comment section of this episode. Subscribe, rate us, comment. This gets our podcast in front of other listeners. And if you noticed, we don't have advertisers. For the cost of a cup of coffee, you can help keep it this way. Become a supporter right now. We'd appreciate it. I'm Jim the Yogi.
I'm Rick the Beach Man.
Peace.